Hi there summoners, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes, and tonight we are getting the reveal of the next set of special heroes to drop into the game in just a couple of days. So it is going to be a Day of Devotion type banner. It is going to be Valentine's Day themed, and we have the silhouette pulled up here, so... I'm thinking pretty obvious here. Maybe I'll eat my words, but I don't think so. I think that on the right there, it's clearly Myrrh. And keeping in line with that mode of reasoning, you think sacred stones, you look at that silhouette, look at that hair. I think it's a dead ringer for Ephraim, so I would be surprised if it was not Ephraim and Myrrh here on this banner. I am going to guess Eirika as well. I think that's a pretty safe guess. In fact, it could even be Eirika and Tana together as the duo. And oftentimes they will have heroes represented on the banner too. So I'm going to guess Selena, who would be joining her brother with a Day of Devotion alt. So let's go ahead and see how wrong I am. I have the trailer pulled up here. Let's go ahead and watch it together for the first time to see all the characters revealed. All right, let's get this show on the road. See who they've got in store for us. Through the tree branches. With flowers full of love. Special heroes to battle. And oh, yeah, okay, adored dragon. That was a gimme. That's Myrrh right there. So colorless dragon armored unit, okay. Got a save skill, of course. Loving Breath, Armored Beacon, Defense Res Scowl 4, Canny Fighter, Darkling Dragon. She's got like all new skills. And her own unique C-slot skill as well. Heavily reduces damage taken and protects her allies. Also hinder enemy warps across a wide area. Ah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, she took like no damage from that. Message of Love. Blasting out there. Little floral breath. It's kind of cute. Quite nice, okay. And next up on deck, yes, that is the Ardent Prince.
That are quite so flowing. It's making me second guess my footwork.
Okay, so Armored Lancer. Yeah, Armoreds tend to make an appearance on the Day of Devotion, so no real surprise there. Righteous Lance, Armored Blaze, Earthfire Boost 3, Sunlit Bangle D. Yeah, and Attack Defense near Save 3. Takes a foe's first strike and hits back with multiple attacks, including his special. Can heal allies with his weapon. Is that what that said? Sunlit Bangle D, so that's going to have some damage reduction, I am sure.
I insist.
Alright, okay. Again, some sunflowers popped out of that attack. Kind of nice. The save effect. Alright. Got it. And then Admiring General, okay.
My feelings toward my
so Selena
far beyond
as a cavalry red tome unit.
What shall I do?
And so she is probably going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner, right? Devoted Basket Plus, yeah, sure seems like it. Her tome deals damage immediately after combat begins, and her attack speed, okay, Kanto as well. So she actually has an as combat begins tome. So that's very interesting to see as an inheritable weapon. Because obviously, oh, Esteemed Royals. So I actually, Eirika is a part of the duo. Lyon, a cavalry green tome unit with duo Lyon and Eirika together. Tender Vessel, Iceberg, Grey Illusion, Occultist Strike, and Sight Attack Res. So that definitely counts. I totally count the backpack, quote-unquote backpack characters that people seem to like to call them.
May love.
So yeah, hits hard at the start of combat and can bury foes in a single blow. Duo and A-skill foe. I missed that.
Find you.
Oh, it pours a little bit. Rush of some holy water or whatever. Okay, so Eirika is making an appearance. She definitely counts. I totally count both characters as part of the duo. I don't care what anybody says. So duo skill inflicts the following stats. We'll take a closer look at all this stuff on the rewatch. So we evaluate the units a little bit further. So that's nice. Looks like that's inflicting a whole heck of a lot of debuffs in cardinal directions. It's actually immobilizing them or eliminating their actions. So
I have faith.
it has some potential to be pretty dumb. Does seem like there is a lot of as combat begins damage as well, or at least some around with this set. May this last paralogue story. And let's see who is. Okay, so it does seem like we're going to be getting a Vigard, and it looks like an Axe unit, probably armored, if I had to guess, just based on the theming and everything for the entire banner. So that's something to look forward to. I'm sure his art is already available in the game at this point. So starting on the 6th of February and going for an entire month, Selena is, of course, going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner. It is going to feature even color distribution across, and then we are looking at green as being the duo for this particular banner. Okay, so we've got ourselves a Sacred Stones banner. And we hit most of the guesses at the start. Now, we didn't get any Fire Emblem Heroes representation at all on the banner, so it was definitely a whiff there. But we hit the other ones. Eirika's in there. Ephraim and Myrrh, I guess, were kind of gimmies. Lyon is in there, not the Tana. And we have Selena. So overall, nice little package here as a banner. I think that, alright, so first up on deck, we have Myrrh as a colorless dragon. Loving Breath, 16 might, killer slaying effect. Got distant counter built in. If foe initiates combat or foe has at least 75%, grants attack plus X to unit and inflicts attack minus X on foe during combat. X equals the number of allies within 3 spaces of unit times 4 plus 6, max 14? That's actually a pretty big differential, especially with how easy the condition is of having only 2 units within 3 spaces of Myrrh. 3 spaces is huge. It would actually probably be harder to have fewer than 2 allies within 3 spaces of her. Grant special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack during combat. Restore 7 HP to unit after combat. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is at least 75% at the start of combat, and if unit's res is greater than foe's res, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoE specials by percentage equal to the difference between stats times 4, max 40%. And then adaptive damage as well. So it's got the whole kit and caboodle. It's got that damage reduction. It's got in addition to the damage reduction, the attack debuff on the enemy is significant. That combination is going to lead to a lot of dings. The healing for the sustain, and then of course you have the killer slaying effect, the distant counter, and then furthermore the additional attack that she's going to enjoy. Armored Beacon for the special, defense res Scowl 4 for the A slot. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat, grants defense res +7 to unit during combat, and also if foe's attack can trigger foe's special and unit's res is greater than or equal to foe's res, might +5 during combat, inflict special cooldown +1 on foe before foe's first attack. So that is going to be a res check to actually provide a rewind on the enemy's special. It is interesting that there is sort of these multiple checks on Myrrh's res, whereas Armored Beacon scales off of her defense. She's probably going to have super tanky defenses on both sides of the coin, but it is kind of interesting that they haven't used this opportunity to introduce an alternative to Armored Beacon that scales off of res instead, because it's going to happen eventually, right? Canny Fighter for the B slot. At start of combat, if unit's HP is at least 25%, inflicts attack res -4 on foe, so more attack debuffs on the enemy. Foe cannot make a follow-up attack. Reduces damage from foe's first attack by X%. Foe can make a follow-up attack, X equals 80, otherwise X equals 40, and reduces damage from foe's follow-up attack by 40%. Right. Okay, follow-up attacks, right, talking about Brave effects. Unit attacks twice, right, okay. And then restores 7 HP to unit after combat. So this is like, God, it's so strong. I mean, it's obviously an evolution of I guess, Wary Fighter, right? Or at least some branch off of Wary Fighter. So it has that whole, like, preventing the enemy from double attacking, but also has all this damage reduction built in, the debuff as well. That's going to stack with the damage reduction that she has built into her weapon, of course. And then, of course, there's the healing afterwards, so additional sustain. So yes, it's going to work very well for her. And then Darkling Dragon for the C slot. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants defense res +6 and warp bubble to unit for 1 turn. At start of turn, grants defense res +6 and warp bubble to any support partner within 2 spaces of unit, or if unit is not on a team with a unit support partner, to ally with the highest defense within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. If unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, inflict special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat, and reduces the percent of foe's non-special reduced damage by X%, skills by 50% during combat. So damage reduction. If a foe uses a bow, dagger, magic, or staff and initiates combat against an ally within 2 spaces of unit, triggers Savior. So it has a save effect, and then it gets plus to attack, defense, and res during combat when she initiates Savior. So, yeah. So just another overclocked Savior skill that is unique to her. I do like that they're maintaining the Warp Bubble being kind of her own, Myrrh's own kind of like unique niche that she fulfills. I don't think that it's not a very common effect. I don't know what units outside of Myrrh actually have that, but I do like that element to it, to have something that's kind of like uniquely hers as a role, as a support, you know, in having that on the battlefield. I do like that. Increasing her defenses, you know, so significantly, the damage reduction, and also providing that to allies as well. They have the whole like support unit element to it, but if you don't care about using support units, which is I guess a common complaint that's out there, then it just picks the closest ally with the highest defense. To me, that kind of cheapens the whole support partner element to it. I guess you could argue that if you want some consistency to the actual proccing of the skill and how it operates, you could use the support partner mechanic to do so. So I guess it's fine. But it does feel like, you're having additional carve outs for the condition just to make it more welcoming, but it kind of like, it almost cheapens the whole intent behind the original condition, I guess, and the balancing of the condition. Alright, so Ephraim is going to be an armored lancer. He's going to have Righteous Lance, 16 might. Has a killer slaying effect, grants attack defense +4 to allies within 3 spaces during combat, and restores 7 HP to those allies after their combat. Oh, okay. So they give him like a little bit of a support element to his weapon. If foe initiates combat, or foe's HP is at least 75% at the start of combat, inflicts attack defense -X on foe during combat, where X equals the number of allies within 3 spaces times 4. Okay, so that is going to be the commonality on the banner. It's going to be that whole, as long as you have a certain number of allies within 3 spaces, and to maximize those, you only need 2. And reduces damage from attacks by 30%, just straight up. Restores 7 HP to unit after combat, so health restoration also consistent across the banner. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is at least 75%, and when unit special triggers, neutralizes foes, reduces damage by X% effects from it neutralizes damage reduction. So that's really quite good. That's actually very good. Because we've been getting more and more damage reduction rather than damage reduction nullification skills recently, because I think they're trying to balance it. They're trying to find a happy medium. Like, out of the gate, to counter damage reduction, they released a lot of like damage reduction nullification stuff, but then they kind of like tapered off and they started doing like damage reduction because they figured that they could kind of increment those a little bit more, like they could actually scale those like over time rather than a flat damage reduction nullification. So that does seem like that was kind of like what they were going for. Armored Blaze for the special, Earthfire Boost 3. Grants HP +5 at start of combat if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 50%. Grants attack defense +7 to unit during combat, and also if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally with HP at least 50%. Inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat. So it has a guard effect built in addition to the stat boosts, the HP boost, and then yeah. So that's okay. All right, I could see the use for it for sure. Sunlit Bangle D for the B slot. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack defense -5 on foe. Unit attacks twice and neutralizes effects that inflicts special cooldown charge -X on unit during combat. And also, when unit deals damage to foe during combat, restore 7 HP to unit. Alright, so that is interesting. That's going to let him get a lot of mileage by giving him a Brave effect on the counterattack, allowing him to heal up, essentially. Also inflicting the guard effect, or preventing the guard effect on him, so he is going to proc his special. And by forcing the enemy to attack him first, that is going to mean that he's going to be able to charge his special much quicker and easier in combat to retaliate with a double attack that will most assuredly proc Armored Blaze. So, and then for the C slot, attack defense near save 3. So yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff. Good synergy overall with his kit. He's going to be super tanky. Lots of health restoration. He actually provides support buffs to his allies. That's just kind of like baked into his weapon. And additionally, the ability to just straight up nullify damage reduction outside of specials through his weapon is really, really powerful. Like, that alone is a key strength. It definitely is. He can heal allies with his weapon as well. He's most assuredly going to be very, very tanky and min-maxed in the stat department. He doesn't need speed to be able to retaliate with a double attack, and he is going to force the enemy to attack into him to make sure that he tanks that first hit, charges his special, and then is able to retaliate with just a ton of damage. So Sunlit Bangle going to take into effect here. He's going to get that charge, and then he's going to actually be able to proc the Armored Blaze because he attacks twice in a row there. So next up we got Selena as a Cavalry Red Tome unit. She is going to have an inheritable weapon, Devoted Basket Plus. 12 might at start of combat. If unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, deals damage to foe equal X% of foe's attack as combat begins. If foe has a weapon triangle advantage, or if unit speed is greater than foe speed, X equals 30, otherwise X equals 15. Activates only when unit can attack in combat. Effects that reduce damage during combat do not apply, will not reduce foe's HP below 1. Grants attack speed plus 5 to unit during combat, and grants bonus to unit's attack speed during combat equal to 15% of unit speed. Yeah, so they basically just cherry-picked a couple of effects from Legendary Camilla's tome, watered them down, and then stuck them in this tome. Yeah, does that seem weird to anybody else? We just got Legendary Camilla a month ago, and then they're adding just a watered-down version of some aspects of her tome into this inheritable tome. Doesn't even fit the theming of the banner, because the banner itself has centered around this whole, like, within 3 spaces of an ally, and then some healing built in, and some support effects, and things like that, and none of that's here. It's completely absent. So it feels a little strange just because it feels, again, it just feels kind of like shoehorned in here. A Rally Attack Plus for the assist, Attack Speed Catch 3, Attack Res Far Trace 3. So she's got a lot of piggybacking skills. She's got a lot of skills that are stepping stones for better skills with her A slot and her B slot specifically. And the weapon itself, for an inheritable tome, it's pretty good. If you want to build a red tome unit around as combat begins damage, you can totally do that with this tome and a pair of the Occultist Strike, as well as the Flared Sparrow. You could definitely do that. Duo of Eirika and Lyon, a Cavalry green tome unit. Tender Vessel, 14 might, Kanto 1, has a Killer Slaying effect. At start of combat, if unit's HP is at least 25%, deals damage to foe equal to X% of foe's attack as combat begins. Okay, so there it is. So that does make a little bit more sense for Selena now. If unit has weapon triangle advantage, or if unit's res is greater than foe's res, X equals 40, otherwise X equals 20. Activates only when unit can attack in combat. Effects that reduce damage during combat do not apply. Grants attack defense res plus 5 to unit during combat. Grants bonus to units attack defense res during combat equal to 20% of units res at the start of combat, and reduces the percentage of foes so damage reduction by 50%. Okay, alright, so here are the similarities a little bit closer to Selena, where it has the as combat begins damage scaling off of the foe's attack with the different conditions in place. It's got the stat boost, and it's also got additional stat boosts that scale off of the unit's res at the start of combat, and then damage reduction built in as well. The Kanto 1, the Killer Sling effect, all very, very good things. Iceberg for the special, Gray Illusion for the A slot. If unit initiates combat or foe's HP is at least 75% at the start of combat, grants plus 9 to attack defense res to unit during combat, and if unit's res is greater than foe's res, foe cannot counterattack. Okay, so they just get a sweep effect through a res check? Really? That feels a little silly. If unit initiates combat, after combat inflicts the following status on foes with the highest speed within 3 spaces of target foe. through their next actions. After start of turn skills trigger, action ends immediately. For foes who have not yet taken an action in summoner duels, instead of inflicting this effect, ends their action immediately. Alright, so that privilege of having a sweep effect, giant stat boosts, and then additionally having that whole, Fomortis effect of ending the enemy's turn. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a darn good A slot, not gonna lie. Occultist Strike, hey, we were just talking about this, so yeah, that's gonna yield additional as combat begins damage, and Incite Attack res for the C slot. At start of turn, if number of allies with it adjacent to unit is less than or equal to 2, grants attack res plus 6 and incited to unit for 1 turn. If number of allies adjacent to unit is less than or equal to 1, grants attack res plus 3 to unit during combat. So not only does this unit enjoy the as combat begins damage, they also effectively just get, free reign as to sweep effect whenever they want, just with a simple res check. They're probably going to have really strong res stat. Look at the plus 30 to their res. So in addition to the sweep effect, they are going to do considerable damage as combat begins, and and then also be able to stop the enemy from basically attacking at all, and then furthermore Kanto afterwards to safety after that too. So yeah, that's a pretty hefty set of stuff. Duo skill is inflicts the following status effect on foes in cardinal directions of unit through their next actions. After start of turn skills trigger, action ends immediately. That's it? Like, no conditions at all? They're just in cardinal directions. It just shuts them down. It just shuts down. You could shut down like half of the unit enemy's entire army. Why? They don't... Nobody needs this. Nobody needs this skill. That's completely... I don't... Why? Like, again, I feel like... I don't know, is it just me, or does it feel like they keep, like, leapfrogging themselves in terms of, like, the power quotient of the characters and what they do unnecessarily? No, am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just, like, completely out of it and, just disregard my opinion. But, like, even if it had been one foe that you can target with this skill at the press of a button, I feel like that would have been really strong. But, like... but again, it feels like they're kind of like skipping ahead. Oh, it's got to be every enemy in the column, and in the column and row in cardinal directions. And I feel like when they leapfrog the power quotient, like they have been basically since the Christmas banner, it doesn't get me like excited at how powerful the characters are. I actually find it really boring. Like, it feels super lazy and boring. And it actually decreases my excitement for the banner and what's forthcoming because of what I know they're going to do in the future. So, it frankly makes me care less. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to be hugely negative or toxic or anything. I've got to be honest. It's just kind of like how I've been feeling lately with the recent additions to the game. I would say that for me personally, Day of Devotion, the aesthetics and the theming has been a little hit or miss for me. I think in the past it's been a lot of almost like Greek deity theming with the togas and the robes and the crowns and everything else. And they kind of swapped back and forth between the toga look and the almost like a classic Romeo and Juliet time period sort of theming, which is, I think, what they're exemplifying here with this batch. And I think it looks nice. It just doesn't scream must summon to me, just from a purely visual perspective. In terms of the character selection, I think it's fine. I think Selena's probably the most interesting of the set for me personally, but I'm also not really a Sacred Stones fanatic, right? So it doesn't appeal the most to me, but at the same time, I'm happy for Sacred Stones fans out there. And I guess another ding for the banner for me personally is that Day of Devotion tends to center around armored units. This is actually a mix of both cavalry and armored, but again, for me personally, armored units are the least interesting movement type. To me, again, that's just my own personal bias. So that makes it kind of even less interesting to me. So I can basically safely ignore this banner, which is good for me because I really need to just save orbs at this point. So that's going to be my approach more or less. But certainly let me know down below if you're excited for this banner. If you guessed the entire banner, you know, you guessed that we were going to get a duo Lyon, if Selena was going to be in there. Let me know down below if you are summoning, and if you are summoning, who you're going to be summoning for. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.